Hey everybody, I'm going to walk through a simple example here, well, a similar example for this problem. So in this one, we're going to prompt the user to enter how many values to enter that he will enter, and then the program will input that many values and then print out the minimum value. And we must use a for loop here. So we're going to solve a similar problem, but instead of printing out the minimum, we'll print out the maximum value. So let's walk through a simple example here to illustrate that. So let's suppose the user types in, so the first step, prompt the user for how many values to enter. So let's suppose the user types in 3. Then the program is going to prompt the user to enter 3 values. Maybe the user types in 5, 2, and 4. So in this case, the max is 5. So it should print out 5. Okay, and let's one more example. So if they type in 4, then the user might type in 4 values. This time the max is 7. Okay, now here's some pseudocode for how we can approach this. We'll input n from the user. So n is the number of values. Then we're going to loop n times. Inside each loop cycle, we'll input a value. If the value is greater than the current max, we'll set max equal to the new value. Then we'll print out the max. So visually, you can kind of imagine that we have some kind of running max. So max initially will start out as negative infinity. So we'll set it equal to int min or something like that. And then for every, so as we loop, right, we look at this one, and then this one, and then this one, and we'll compare each one to the max. So we'll compare 5 to negative infinity. And in this case, we'll say, yeah, this 5 is definitely greater than negative infinity. So we'll set max equal to 5. Then we'll look at this one. Is 2 greater than the max? Is 2 greater than 5? No. Then we'll look at this one. Is 4 greater than 5? No. So then in the end, the max is correctly 5. We print out 5. Okay. So now let's think about how to code this up. So the next step is we're going to divide or simplify the problem into steps. Now there's many ways to do this, but the way that I recommend here is, you know that you need to input n from the user, and then you're going to loop n times. So let's at least get that working. So I'm going to input n. Okay, so let's prompt the user how many values, and then we'll input n. Okay, and then let's loop n times. I less than n, I plus plus, and that's all we're going to do. Now to test this out, I am going to print something. It doesn't really matter what I print, but I just want to make sure that my loop is running n times. So let me just make this a little easier to read. So if I type in 4, what I expect to happen is 4 hurrahs. Okay. So the reason I do this is because now I can visually see that this step works. I'm convinced that it works now. Okay, so let me take this, paste it here. Step 2. Now that that works, we loop n times. Now let's actually input n numbers. So to do that, I can declare a new value here, integer, and I'll see in the val. Now, again, I want to test this out somehow. So every time I input a val, I'll just print it back out. Uh-oh, what did I do? Okay, so here we have 4. Well, let me run this. Let's see what happens. So we're going to input 4 values, and let's say 3, 2, and 5. And so it just prints them all out after I do it. So I'm convinced that that step works. Okay. Now, the final thing we'll do is we'll keep track of the maximum number. So I can delete this. This was just some test code. So I'm going to declare a max. And I'll set it equal to -infinity. Okay. And then we'll compare it. We'll compare each new value. If val is greater than max, then we'll set max equal to the value. And then at the very end, print out the max. Okay, so we've got maybe, yeah, let's try 4 values. And the max is correctly set to 5. Okay, great. So I hope that was helpful. So again, we can kind of walk through the pseudocode here, right? We loop input n from the user. So we do that up here. We're going to loop n times, right? So we do that here. We're going to input a value. Right? So we do that here. And then we're going to check if value is greater than the current max, we'll set max equal to the new value. So we do that right here. And then we print out the max. We do that right here. All right, I hope that was helpful.